quick. Can
Puck drops at 8, trustee.
Okay, I figure I can get the last period in. But then again, if they're losing 4-1, who cares?
Okay, you ready, Jane? Oscar?
Can we make a motion to make a time limit on the meeting? Terry?
I'm all for it.
What numbers?
Four.
Well, what number? That's 15.
15.
You have a lot to say,
You
Terry.
want them, they're separate,
Terry,
right?
you have a lot to say?
Two sentences.
Okay, 14, 15 is the, okay, good.
I might talk about trustees not talking no more.
I like that idea.
About this meeting, like we're talking about, a business meeting only. Circus acts.
Good evening. This is the Board of Trustees' regular meeting. The date is May 13th, 2014. It's 7:32 PM, and this is meeting number 2014-15, the Board of Trustees' regular meeting. Clerk Quinlan, please take the roll.
All right. President Barry,
Here.
Trustee Olenichek,
Here?
Trustee Desmond,
Here.
Trustee Carberry,
Here.
Trustee Vorder,
Here.
Trustee Streit,
Yes.
and Trustee Quinlan. Here. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Would everyone rise, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. For public comments, I'd like Mr. John Velakakis to come up, please. He's going to talk about the 91st Street subdivision and TIF.
Thank you. First off, I'd like to thank the board for continuing my family's legacy of not getting sleep when it rains. The spring's here with all the nice rains. They flood in the winter, and now it's summer, they're flooding again. So I'd like to thank the board and Board of Planning and Development and others that, refuse to take on anything about detention in this community, for not acting on anything like that. Right now, there's a thing on the agenda to approve a subdivision on 91st Street from two very large lots with two pretty small structures on it, to subdivide that into 4 lots, which even if they do follow the 50% rule, maximum coverage on these lots, it's still going to be a tremendous amount of more rainwater that's going to be going into the streets and into the sewer systems, flowing downstream as usual, and going to the lowest parts in the village where it floods not just the stormwater, but the sanitary sewers and floods into people's houses. So again, with no action, for years and years and years, with all this development, and with no action from the current Planning and Development Board and this board to develop any detention to stop that flooding, I suppose the people downstream can only, will be seeing more flooding. And it just hit me today while I was writing this, that I guess it's kind of like, the rest of the village is crapping on the people downstream, because that water that they're building the new houses and additions and extensions on, that all goes into the system, like I said, and goes downstream and floods in other people's yards and sewer systems. So I think it's time that somebody address some of this stuff. We're not just talking about, we are talking about loss of property values. I know people that are probably looking way under the market value, not just because of the economy, but because of flooding situation. And also, a health issue, because we are talking about sanitary water in people's houses. A lot of people in the southeast region, especially where my daughter lives on the east end of Oak Center, a lot of them are slabs on grade. They got their heating vents in the slabs. So now you got sewer water pouring into those. So it's not a very good, healthy situation. Regarding the TIF, I don't know if a lot of people are aware how TIFs work. I guess, I don't know if you could live on what you were making 23 years ago, but a TIF, especially this one that lasts 23 years, stops the local schools and other entities, public services, from getting money from the increased property values of that TIF. So in 23 years, I don't know how do you sustain, a school and other services? Two ways, raise taxes or cut services. So I don't know which the board has in plan for down the road, 5, 10, 23 years down the road. But, the idea is that the TIF is going to increase in value, the property and all that, and the difference in that is going to go to pay for the development. Only problem is, I'm sure a lot of you got your tax bills from the county showing a decreased value on your property. It's going to be hard to pay back that TIF loan when the property values decrease instead of increase. So take that into consideration.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, and that is it for public comments. Before I move on to the agenda items following, I just want to have a moment of silence for a lifelong resident who lost his life yesterday. Mr. Kirk Ehrenstrom was a teacher at Mount Carmel for over 30 years, and he's famous for winning the Golden Apple Award in 2013. Sadly, he passed away much too young, and I would just like this board to recognize his dedication and life of service with a moment of silence. Thank you. And our sincerest condolences are with the family and friends of this very kind gentleman. So, thank you. The next item on the agenda, we have a few proclamations. Oops, nope, I can't skip this. The Oaklawn Hometown Middle School Everbridge Public Service Announcement Video Contest winners. Well, I'm just going to read some numbers before we get started, and we'll call everyone up front. At the last board meeting, you may remember, we wanted to build awareness in the springtime of our Everbridge service that we offer residents and increase utilization. So the middle school put together many videos. We whittled them down to 4, and at the last board meeting, we challenged residents to go ahead and vote for their favorite by liking the page, okay? The videos, finalist number 1 had 482 views, finalist number 2 had 340 views, finalist 314 views, finalist 422 views. They ran continuously on the village channel as well. So the most likes, and of course I'm missing all the numbers, I'm sorry. We'll pull them up. Let's call everyone up front, and would the middle school care to come up front? Anyone from the middle school? We have 2 teams present. So we have, who's here from number 1, finalist number 1? Okay, and who's here from finalist number 2? Okay. Finalist number 2 as of today, now the voting ended, but as of today, there were 611 likes. When we closed voting, they were number 1. They are our winners. Finalist number 2, congratulations. You are going to school in our beautiful Hummer. This is a brand new. Now, those of you who may not know where these Hummers come from, the Village of Oaklawn does not use taxpayer money to get these sweet rides for our police officers. These are seized from drug dealers. So they're repurposed and put to good use. So congratulations. Would you like to pass that down to team number 2? Now, team number 1, you had, as of today, over 600 likes. You guys were neck and neck the whole way down. You did a great effort. I didn't want to just recognize team 2, because I thought team 1, you guys were awesome. Most people don't know the Village of Oaklawn has 2 Hummers. We do. They're not all as fancy as that one, but we have 2. And so finalists from our honorable mention group, you will also get a ride in the other Hummer, which is screaming yellow. So good effort. Thank our police department for coming through. We are so proud of you, the great work you did.
Our winners, we're going to have your video be the official Everbridge Video of the Year. It'll be on our website, and it'll be running another 2 weeks on our Channel 4. And I want to congratulate you. Job well done. And everyone did such a good job. I want to recognize you guys. So, Trustee Vorder, would you care to help me?
Sure.
Thank you. Trustee Vorder is our police liaison. So I'm going to let you read these, and I will shake the hands.
Okay.
So,
Okay, the Village of Oak Lawn recognizes and proudly recognizes and congratulates Arlene Abolda.
Ariol Arboleda.
Oh, okay. Okay, the Village of Oak Lawn recognizes Cole Cartia.
Carita. Good job. Well done.
Jacob Marquez.
Awesome job. You were like born for being on TV.
Angela Abrand.
Congratulations. Well, these two are here, and the following three, we'll just read their names.
Okay. We have a Sarah Rise.
Yay.
And Elizabeth Byland. And we have three runners-up that are not here tonight. We have a Tyler Holbeck. Excuse me. Aaliyah Aguiar. And Evelyn Piara.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Nope, that's it for now. And I want to thank you so much. Oops, we lost the microphone. I want to thank you so much. Great job, you guys. And I understand you're working on another project at your school.
The new trimester of kids.
Yeah, so very good. We can hardly wait to see what's next.
Keep it coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. I have a few proclamations to read. First of all, is anyone from Bike Psychos up here today? I thought I saw someone. There you are. The Ride of Silence is something real special in Oak Lawn. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
The Ride of Silence is like a funeral procession, and it recognizes people who have been injured or killed in a bicycle accident. This year is the second year that Oak Lawn is participating. The Ride of Silence is 11 years old doing this. In Oak Lawn, we're going to start at the metro station, and we are going to go to the Ghost Bike that is located at 135th and Ridgeland. That was a Chicago police officer that got killed a year ago. And we feel it's very important, especially with the CalSAG being finished this year, to bring awareness to the community that we, as bicyclists, get to share the road as well.
Thank you. So I have a proclamation. This is for the 2014 Ride of Silence, whereas what began as a one-time event in 2003 to honor a fallen bicyclist is now an international phenomenon occurring around the globe, and whereas the Ride of Silence is a silent, slow-paced bicycle ride to honor those who have been injured or killed while cycling on public roadways, and whereas composed of many but riding as one, the Ride of Silence is a quiet call to the public announcing that bicycle safety is the responsibility of all users of public roads. And whereas the need to inform motorists that the state of Illinois requires a 3-foot clearance in passing bicyclists on the road, And whereas the Village of Oak Lawn is committed to providing a safe cycling environment and proudly supports the Ride of Silence, now therefore I, Dr. Sandra Berry, Mayor of the Village of Oak Lawn, do hereby proclaim May 21st, 2014 as Ride of Silence Day in the Village of Oak Lawn, Illinois. Thank you. Thank you. Trustee Desmond, would you care to come up here, sir? We have one more proclamation to read, but I thought I'd turn the floor over to you first.
Okay.
I could read it, or you could have him dance, and we could read it, whatever you want to do.
Tiger, you want to come up and dance, and we can read it after.
Tell me who this is.
This is Tyke's Plan. A couple of weeks ago, Tyke just won the World Irish Dancing Competition in London.
This is in the world.
World, yeah.
So this is world.
He's now a world champion. So, Tig is the under-13 boys world champion Irish dancer, whereas Tig's Plan is the son of Tim from Castle Gregory, County Kerry, and Martina from Charlestown, County Mayo, and younger brother of Hannah. And whereas Tig's Plan lives in Oak Lawn with his family as in 6th grade at Simmons Middle School, and whereas Tig's Plan was 6 years old when he started Irish step dancing with Lavin Cassidy School of Irish Dance in Worth, Illinois. And whereas Tig's Plan participates in cross-country and track clubs at Simmons Middle School. And whereas Tig's Plan loves to camp with his family and his dog Shadow during the summer. Tig's Plan likes to play baseball and basketball with his friends when he's not dancing. And whereas Tig's Plan is a big fan of the Chicago White Sox, Chicago Blackhawks, and the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
And whereas Tig's Plan's greatest accomplishment is winning the Under-13 Boys World Irish Dancing Championship on April 14th, 2014 in London, England. And now, therefore,
Now, therefore, I, Dr. Sandra Berry, Village President of the Village of Oak Lawn, along with our Board of Trustees, proclaim full support in honoring Tig Splann for his tremendous accomplishments and commitment to Irish dancing. Congratulations. Thank you. So, Tig, I want to ask you a question, Tig. No escape yet. So come over here. So I understand there were thousands of people competing in this. Can you tell me how many? I heard 5,000 people were competing. And then you're number one in the world for your class. What class was that? What group?
It was under 13 boys.
So under 13 boys. So what's this up here? Can you tell me what that is that you brought with us?
That's the globe that I won, and the belt where on the back of the belt, all the boys that won that belt since 1970 their names are on the back of the belt.
Wow, wow, that's awesome. So next year, the belt goes back, do you get to keep the ball?
No, I don't.
No?
Okay.
Okay.
Try it again.
Is there anything you want to tell people who might be just interested in dancing? Any advice for them just starting out?
You can do it too.
Excellent job. Thank you. Okay, thanks, Tim.
At least he gets to go back to Ireland to bring
And
it back.
Tyke, we'd like you to take the banner also. That's for you.
Yes.
And last time you were dancing here, it was on carpet, and it didn't do justice. The hardwood was a great idea, so we wish you the very best. Thank you. Very good. Let me just get organized. I want to thank everyone for coming. Way to go, Tig. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I know.
Yeah, yeah.
I know.
Thank you. Okay.
You're the coach. She must be the coach. She's from St. Catharines, one of the coaches.
Okay.
Katie's.
We have a few people in the audience. We're going to kind of jump around a little on the agenda to try to be efficient. Let me see here. What is the number for?
Is it 14 and 15? Or life subjects? Which one do you want first?
Okay, we're gonna.
Ask for a motion to take items 16 and 17.
Okay, items 16 and 17. I'd like a motion, please, to move that item forward.
So moved.
Properly moved by Trustee Olenichek, second by Trustee Carberry. Okay, I'm going to read these items. Item 16 is a request to approve a 22.6 parking variation, 22.6% parking variation and landscaping variation at 9159 South Cicero Avenue. This was a 6-0 vote to approve petition 2014-7 and 2014-8. Craig Podolak, Architects, petitioner in District 2. And then item 17 is an ordinance 141527 granting that request. May I have a motion, please, on these two items?
Motion to approve.
Properly moved by Trustee Olenichek.
Second.
Oh, wait,
Call the
we
roll
were,
on
yeah,
to move
yeah,
up.
yeah, thank you, Jane.
Okay. This is to move up.
This is
the
to
two
move it up.
items.
Mhm.
Trustee Olenichek.
Yes.
Trustee Desmond.
yes.
Trustee Carberry.
Yes.
Trustee Vorder.
Yes.
Trustee Streit.
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Motion passes
Thank you. And then we had a motion to approve by trustee Olenichek, seconded by trustee Carberry. I understand the petitioners are present. Would you care to come to the podium? We have Mr. Sal Melilli? Melilli, thank you. And then Craig Podoluk, the architects. Okay, so this is regarding an expansion of Hooters, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you, if I may. First of all,
Sure.
I'd like to say it's nice to know the young generation's alive and well, because my knees ache just watching them. And my wife would be happy if I could do any dance, let alone that dance. So, no, thanks. I'll try to keep it short, because I know you've got a long agenda this evening. But I just want to take a couple of moments on the two items that we have here, but just give you, if I could, just a little brief snapshot of Hooters, kind of who we are, why we're here in Oak Lawn, and why we want to continue, and why this project is critical to us, important to us. The original founders of the Hooters concept are here from the Illinois, Chicagoland area. So when we talk about who we are, we're the original founders of this brand and this worldwide concept, right? It's not just a franchisee that's, passing through. We first moved to Oak Lawn years ago, and we took over the existing space that it is today. And I have to say, it's been tremendous for us to be able to grow and develop our brand in Chicagoland. Part of our philosophy of Hooters is, if you want to be a neighborhood restaurant, you got to participate in your neighborhood. So when I look at the people that are here tonight, and the youth, and the things that we've done in the past decade and a half, it made it very easy for us to decide where we want to continue to grow and develop our business. In doing so, for about the past 2 years, we've worked closely with the city in trying to, grow our location and grow the business that we have. If anybody's been by the location, it's challenged. It's an old building. It's a tired building. And when we look at the things that are going on in Oak Lawn, we'd like to make a commitment to continue to be part of that growth. When we first started the process, we had to buy the land from the existing landlord that we have today. We actually bought some vacated land from the city. We actually bought some additional land from the car dealership. So it's been a long, arduous process to get to this point. But fortunately, we think we're here. Once we purchased all that land and we've acquired it, the question is, well, what do we do with it, right? Careful what you wish for. Now we have this land. We've got an old building. We were approached in that 2-year process by other communities. Other opportunities came up, developers and incentive. And when we sat around our boardroom table, we said, there's no better place than right here where we've been. What we'd like to do now is develop what we call one of our new prototypes, or our new flagship store. And it's going to have several unique things that no other Hooters in the world has, right? We've got 450 stores around the world. The group that I'm fortunate to be partners with, we own and operate the Chicagoland territory. We own and operate the Clearwater Tampa Bay market. We've got a Hooters Foods business. We've got a casino in Las Vegas. We're actually building a new restaurant right across from Madison Square Garden. And this store will be the only store that is really more focused on the customer, and it's going to have several things that the other stores don't have. And we think it's going to be hopefully a prototype for the rest of the system to be able to adopt. When we look at the residents and or the customers that we have, it's all about improving the flow. If anybody's been to our restaurant on a Friday, Saturday night, unfortunately, it could be a 2-hour wait. In this particular case, we're going to be adding additional seating to it. We do a tremendous to-go business that serves this community because of the density. This will be a store that has a dedicated to-go entrance. It's going to have its own dedicated pickup service area. No other store has that. And we think that could be a footprint for us to use in other markets as we look at fast casual concepts and we look at other things that have been out there in the marketplace. So that said, make it a little more specific, because you get tired of hearing me talk, as my wife tells me. But there's a couple things that are in here that are important to us, right? One was the acquisition of the land and the money spent on that. 2, we're going to be putting in some extra street parking, although it's on the village property with your approval. We're going to spend that money. We're going to be able to clean up that lot. If you haven't been out there in a while, we're taking out some of the hardscape. There's going to be additional landscaping. There's going to be all neon lights, LED lights. There's going to be a better location of the building situated in the middle of the property. It's going to help with customer flow. It's going to help with parking flow. It's going to help with ingress, egress. It's more in line with the other businesses that are out there in line. So from our standpoint, we're prepared to make that commitment. I mean, this thing between the land, the building materials, the stuff that we've designed, thanks to Craig not mentioning his bill, we're probably going to be close to a $3 million investment. So we choose to put that money here. We want to be part of the community. We want to continue to be the neighborhood restaurant. I think most people are pleasantly surprised when you come into Hooters and you see that, 65 to 70% of our customers are women, children, family, sports teams. It's a great reflection of what the community is, and it's a great reflection of our customer base. And with that said, happy to answer any questions, but I can't thank you enough for the opportunity. I can't thank you enough for what Larry and staff has done to help pioneer a lot of this stuff. So we look forward to many more decades coming. I'd love to have that young man out at the grand opening or something, because that would certainly bring some energy to it. So happy to answer questions or comments, but hopefully we can move forward on this. I know we've submitted plans. It is time sensitive for us. We really want to get shovels in the ground here pretty soon with the weather breaking, so we can get this stuff done in time for football season, which is obviously a critical time for all of us.
Thank you, Sal.
Sure.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, let's take the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
And Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. I can't thank you enough. We're excited to be part of Oak Lawn, and it's great to have a community that sees businesses the way we see it. So again, thanks for your time, and go Hawks.
Yeah. Looks like a beautiful new store. We're really excited about it.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a request also to move item 14 and 15 up on the agenda. Item 14 is a request to approve the Planning and Development Commission referral for a 4-lot subdivision at 5154 and 5174 West 91st Street. This is a 7-0 vote to approve. Number 2014-1. Brendan Fox is the petitioner in District 2. And then following that is an ordinance 141526 approving that request. That is item 15 on our agenda. May I have a motion to move these items forward?
Motion to move.
Properly moved by Trustee Oliniechek, seconded by Trustee Carberry. Please take the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And I believe the petitioner is present also. Is that correct, Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes, he is.
Okay, very good. So I need a motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Properly moved by Trustee Oliniechek,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Desmond. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Trustee Streit.
I thought that, and I really applaud the resident, Mr., and I apologize for maybe the pronunciation, but I'll try Volokaitis. I think he's, he demonstrated a significant commitment to our community and to certainly to making certain that we have as much open space as we can to provide for adequate drainage. But he raised the point. One of the things that we did a number of years back, or several years back, was passed an ordinance that required the lot to have at least to have the surface of impervious surface of 50%. And I just want to ask if once these are subdivided, would each lot meet that code? Are there any additional variations required?
Okay, would you care to come to the microphone? And we just ask that you state your name and if you're an Oak Lawn resident or not. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brendan Fox, and I'm an Oak Lawn resident for 29 years. In answer to your question, we will definitely meet the 50% rate. I have the plans semi-approved with the architect, and will meet all the guidelines that you require.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, let's take the vote, please.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Congratulations. We have another request to move an item up. This is item 30, the village president's report, specifically item 30E and F. This is a request to approve a Class N like Nancy liquor license. This is outdoor service area for SIP, located at 4911 West 95th Street. in Oak Lawn. And item F is an ordinance increasing, I take these separately, correct?
You can take them.
Okay. Ordinance 141535, an ordinance increasing the number of Class N like Nancy liquor licenses that can be issued in the village for SIP at 4911 West 95th Street. May I have a motion, please, to move these items forward? Properly moved by trustee Quinlan.
I'll second.
Seconded by trustee Warder. Let's call the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And I need a motion for approval, please, on item 30 E and F.
Motion approved.
Properly moved by trustee Quinlan,
Second.
seconded by trustee Streit. Any discussion? And I believe the petitioner is here as well, if anyone has questions.
Take the roll.
Okay, please take the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion
Thank you.
passes.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Or do a drink there.
Very good. So we're going back kind of to the start of the agenda. We're going to go to item 6. This is a request to approve the Oak Lawn Chamber of Commerce Spring into Summer event on June 21st, 2014. This includes a pet parade, new car show, and Shop Oak Lawn vendor fair. May I have a motion, please, on
Motion
item
approved.
6? Properly moved by trustee Oliniechek.
Second.
Seconded, I heard trustee Warder first. And we do have a representative from the chamber here. Would you like to say anything about that event? Not really? Okay. Just come on out and enjoy it. Okay, any discussion on this item? Please take the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 7 is a request to approve the use of the Village Green for the Oak Lawn Library on Friday, July 11th, 2014, from 11 o'clock to 2 p.m. for an animal adoption program. May I have a motion on
Motion
item
approved.
7, properly
Second.
moved by trustee Oliniechek, seconded by trustee Carberry. Any discussion? Please take the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 8 on the agenda is a request to approve St. Catherine's Charge on 5K, run on Saturday, August 16th, 2014. May I have a motion, please, on item 8?
Motion approved.
Properly moved by trustee Carberry.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Oliniechek, I believe. Any discussion? Please take the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, item 9, Oak Lawn Green Team, Oak Lawn Bike Tour. Is there anyone here from this organization who would like to talk about it?
Yes, we have a representative.
Thank you. And could you please state your name and if you're an Oak Lawn resident?
Hi, I'm Deanna Sandy, and I am an Oak Lawn resident, and I'm also a member of the Green Team, and also the president of the Bike Psychos. And we're absolutely thrilled to be doing the Oak Lawn Bike Tour for the 3rd year. The Oak Lawn Bike Tour is Saturday, June 21st. There's quite a few changes from the last 2 years. One is check-in time is at 8 a.m. The start time will be promptly at 8:45. You must register online at cmoaklawn.org. Registration is quick and easy. It'll take you less than a minute to register. It is important that you do register ahead of time. Deadline for registration is June 18th. You must wear a helmet. Helmet is required. If you do not have a helmet on, we are going to ask you to leave. It is a safety precaution for you. Also, to follow all rules of the road. The roads are open even though we are escorted by the Village of Oak Lawn's Police Department. We still have to obey the traffic laws, and that includes only riding 2 on the right side of the road. Anybody who pre-registers, the first 250 will receive a free t-shirt and also other gifts that we have lined up. We have a lot of fun, exciting things to go along with the bike tour. We will be ending the bike tour Pretty close to the original location, but if you'll have an opportunity to also take advantage of the spring into summer of the Chamber's event. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Do you need a bicycle?
You need a bicycle.
You need a helmet?
You need a helmet.
And you need to register.
And you need to register. And you have to be over 10 years old to ride the ride.
Bob, you can join.
Thanks.
Alex, are you wearing your bike shorts this year?
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so there's no vote on this. It's informational. Thank you so much. And that's a great event. Great event. So moving on, item 10, conflict of interest disclosure. Does anyone on this board have any conflict to disclose with any item on tonight's agenda? Hearing none, we're going to move on to item 11. This is approval of meeting minutes for the regular meeting minutes 2014-13, dated April 22nd, 2014.
Motion approved.
Properly moved by trustee Carberry. Seconded by trustee Quinlan. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Trustee Vorder.
Correction on page 13.
Okay.
Okay, it reads, District 4 is cleaning up and looking good. District 4 has always been clean. I believe what I said was District 4 is greening up with the
greening up?
springtime. I'd like to correct that.
Okay.
Greening, G-R-E-E. Greening
Yeah,
up.
G-R-E-E.
Okay.
I don't think that's a
Like-
word.
Yeah,
That's all right, we'll put it, okay.
Put her in quotes.
Terry said it's a word.
That's fine. So
poetic license.
we'd like this as amended then.
Oh, page, okay, that's good.
Any other discussion? Please take the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan? Yes. Motion passes.
So item 12 on the agenda is new business by village trustees. We're going to start in District 1. Trustee Desmond, what's new?
Thank you, Mayor. Today is the second day of the Shop Oak Lawn, High Oak Lawn initiative, and the building department are reporting large volumes of permits being issued. 19 permits issued yesterday, and as of this afternoon, 15 permits. So people are out doing work in their homes, helping local businesses and hiring local contractors. Also, I want to talk about a program that Governor Quinn has introduced recently. It's called the Welcome Home Illinois, and a second program called Welcome Home Heroes. This is a program where first-time home buyers and returning veterans would receive grants to help with the purchase of homes. Now, I've spoken to some banks, realtors in the village, and we plan on doing a workshop in the near future where we can get everyone under one roof. We will invite home buyers to come in and sit down with realtors, see what houses are available. They can then talk to the bankers about the mortgages, and we will have an attorney present to answer any legal questions about the programme. So I will have more on that later, and that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Oliniechek, what's new in District 2?
I just want to do a quick update. We had the first elderly and disabled e-waste pickup, which was May 10th. I understand it went well. The next one is scheduled for October 11th. We are going to have the Bike to Work Week celebration and challenge, which the Village of Oak Lawn, I believe, didn't we come in first place last year, Larry?
First place in our category.
So it's another good event that if you take a look at the website, it'll give you some information on it. I've got the Neighborhood Watch meeting for all the 2nd District residents. It's being scheduled for June. The information will be going out to the residents in the neighborhood. It's a great program. Trustee Voider and I were working between districts. We had a really good response there, and now it's time to open it up. I know that I'll be opening up to all of 2nd District, and I believe, Trustee Voider, you said you're going to be opening up to the rest of your district, too.
Yes, I was trying to schedule a meeting the end of May, but I haven't been able to secure a location. I'll be working on that and hope to do the same thing in June.
Just what's been in the news lately that's drawn a lot of interest is, as Trustee Voider and I were getting ready to go to take a look at an issue on the village board, we took 294 and we saw the sign about from Illinois about the taxes in the state of Illinois and how they're hurting people. And then you read how Wisconsin's marketing the people to move out of the state of Illinois. And just recently, the Tribune, I don't know if you caught it on there was an article in the Home Life, I believe, on Sunday, and then there was another editorial and follow-up today. And taking a look at that, Trustee Voiter and I were discussing, if you take a look at what was written in all those articles and what is the popular subject right now is taxes. Some of the states, the data points that I've looked at is Oak Lawn has the state of Illinois has the third highest unemployment rate, the second highest property taxes, and we're the number 2 state at losing residents. So in discussing how we can set ourselves apart, Trustee Voiter and I would like to work and propose an ordinance in which we as a village reduce taxes. We're looking at a beta program of 4 years with a target of 3% in property tax reduction per year. It'll take a lot of work, but I think that it's time, instead of all the other parts of our government raising taxes, we as a village should be the leaders in this and set precedent and challenge all the other taxing bodies to look to reduce taxes. So it's a progressive program. It's an ordinance that we would have to put together. I know we're coming up in budgeting time. But I can tell you that if we can think about it and we can put our hands around it and we can plan it, I really believe that that's a great way to go on. We got Shop Oak Lawn, we've got the Oak Lawn Chamber of Commerce that's doing a great job with that. We've got the Work Oak Lawn, and why wouldn't you want to build and live in Oak Lawn and give businesses and residents an opportunity to say, I live in one of the few villages, if not the only village, that's looking to decrease our taxes and give me a possible property tax rebate. So that concludes my report.
Thank you. What's going on in District 3, Trustees?
Thank you, Mayor. Last week, my wife and I were watching the Channel 5 10 o'clock news, and there was a report that an alleged killer had walked out of Advocate Christ Medical Center and was on the loose. My wife turned to me and she said, did you just hear what I heard? And I said, I think I heard the same thing, but I can't be right. I said, because I would have gotten an Everbridge alert or an email from the mayor or the manager, and I checked my phone. There was no alert, and there was no emails. I went to the Channel 5 NBC website to see if I could find out more about the story, and I didn't find anything. I told my wife, I know that we both thought that we heard that an alleged killer walked out of Advocate Christ Medical Center, but we must have gotten it wrong. Because if this really happened, Oak Lawn would be all over this. But I was wrong. Mark Cherry, an alleged murderer, checked himself out of Advocate Christ Medical Center, and he was the subject of a nationwide manhunt. He did turn himself in on Monday. What allows an accused murderer to check himself out of the hospital? The hospital should be required to notify the village when an accused or arrested offender is checked into the hospital, or when an accused or arrested offender checks out of the hospital for that matter. When a sex offender moves into a community, they must register with the local police. In fact, they must register on a regular basis even if they do not move. When a criminal is allowed to walk free from a hospital undetected, something has to change. The system has failed us, and we have to establish policies that will prevent this from happening again. It could be that law enforcement policies include new backup provisions. It could be that the Oak Lawn Police Department must be notified when an arrestee is hospitalized in Oak Lawn. It could be called a common sense public safety policy. But whatever it is, the safety of our residents must never be compromised. And I would ask that we place this item on a committee of the whole agenda and look at an ordinance or policy that could help further protect our residents. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Chief Murray, is there anything you want to say about the policy already in place for that? What is typically done?
In a situation that the trustee described, the arresting agency would be responsible for their prisoner at the hospital. They would be responsible for sitting with the individual for as long as it took, or arranging with the hospital to make sure that notification is made back when the prisoner is ready to be released. In this case, there was an issue with jurisdiction. This person came from Indiana and was airlifted into the hospital. You know, it's an issue of Christ Hospital being a level 1 trauma center, and there's quite a few criminals that end up being treated over at the hospital. That's why individual departments are responsible for their own prisoners.
And do we typically get notification of when would you be notified typically?
Generally, we're not. If there's, the only time we're notified is if we think that there's going to be an issue up at the hospital because a prisoner is brought in, or if it's a shooting victim, or if there, in some cases, a gang issue that's brought up to the hospital, we may get notification that family or friends of the victim might be showing up at the hospital. But otherwise, generally, we are not notified every time a prisoner or somebody in custody is brought up to the hospital.
Thank you. Larry, did you have something to say?
I do, Mayor. Thank you, and Board. I put an item in your till on Friday. Although I wasn't watching TV, I was sitting at my desk at Village Hall. I received a call from a resident who had saw the story. And she lived close to the hospital, so I told her that I was unaware of any safety concern for her or any Oak Lawnian, and I would contact the chief of police and get back to her quickly that evening, which I did. And Mike had not heard of anything as well. And the reason why is the incident we're here talking about tonight took place months ago. And just as Chief Murray indicated, it was a incident involving an airlift from the community municipality was in Indiana. As we all know, Advocate Christ is the busiest trauma center in the 12-state Midwest region. Busiest trauma center in the 12-state Midwest region. Over, or close to 100,000 medical events occur per year there. So, in this particular case, there was no safety issue. I informed the resident, thanked her for contacting us. I actually saw the story on television 2 days later at a meeting in Orland Park. 2 days later. And again, the story was on another television channel, and it was not the same story, but it was very clear that the incident this time in the story, they made it clear that it occurred months before. So the police in Oak Lawn were on top of it. When it was brought to their attention, they've spoken to Advocate Security, and we have an outstanding relationship with Advocate, and I'm sure that in the weeks ahead, we'll be giving you updates about the matter. But I did provide that information to you in your tell on Friday. Thank you.
Thank you. All done, Trustee Strang?
Well, I know that the manager said there was no safety issue, but I mean, you had a killer was, walked out of the hospital. So there was, at some point, there certainly was a safety
Trustee, what I
issue.
was referring to, if I could, I was referring to a news report, nothing that was brought to the attention of the Oak Lawn Police Department for the reasons that Chief Murray clearly outlined, and the event had taken place months ago. What I informed the resident, as I informed all of you, is the safety of Oak Lawn residents was not compromised or any different at the time that story ran from anyone living anywhere, for that matter, in the United States, as you indicated. Now, when the event occurred months ago, that is an issue that we obviously do our due diligence and explore with security at the hospital and other law enforcement agencies. But again, Chief Murray is absolutely correct. That's what took place. And I believe that it was either in a newsprint article or a follow-up on television that the Gary, Indiana police acknowledged the fact that they were responsible for the issue, just as the chief said, and they stated why they didn't follow up, and I didn't follow that, to be very frank with you.
Madam, go ahead.
No, I just, so you're really not suggesting, though,
Okay.
that
Madam Mayor, can I just?
System
Trustee
failed.
Oliniechek, your comment, then we're moving on to District 4.
Well, if you're saying the system failed from the hospital side because they should have notified the village immediately that this was going on there. And I am concerned from a hospital side, they're a good partner. I'm concerned why they didn't notify the village under any circumstance when something like that happens. Because it should be their responsibility to make sure that we at least know, we understand that they have to give aid, and that's what a hospital's there for, but I'm concerned, what the hospital feels their notification needs to be. I know they can't give us because of HIPAA. I know they can't give us any medical information, but if somebody is an alleged criminal, and I understand they're alleged, we still have to be concerned about how this happened and what can be done in the future to prevent it. I believe everything I've read, and from the till that our staff did everything. I'm concerned from the hospital staff and the partnership, and I think we should have a meeting with them to discuss specifically what they're going to do in the future, because it's going to happen again.
Thank you. District 4.
I'd just like to respond to your comment, Alex. This individual was airlifted. I assume that was an extreme emergency, that they would helicopter somebody in from Indiana, probably before even notifications were given to the hospital that he may be a criminal, okay? And he possibly escaped before the hospital was even aware of the fact, okay, that he was a criminal. Maybe Gary Police Department failed, okay, in their notification in the hospital. Larry, I would like to know, too, what happened there. If you can look into that, our chief, would you look into that and find out how that communication lapse occurred? But it could happen that way.
Be more than happy to.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else for District 4?
Yeah, listen, while we're on the subject of hospital, I just wanted to make mention that the major construction is going on. We're up to 2 or 3 floors on the steel work there. There's a lot of congestion going on. I've been getting a couple of calls on the condition of the street, 93rd and Costner, 93rd Street. The streets are beat up. There is a lot of heavy equipment coming in, a lot of heavy trucks coming in, and it will be kind of beat up for a while. The hospital has agreed, or at least led us to believe, that they will repair those streets, okay, at the end of the construction period. So I'm just sending a informational notice out to the 4th District residents. Avoid the area, or if you do enter the area, expect backups and maybe a pothole or two. That's all I have there.
Thank you. District 5?
Thank you. I actually have one brief update. I just wanted the residents that are by Little Wolf Park to know that, give them an update on the basketball hoop situation. Back in the fall, myself, as well as a big crowd of residents from the area, attended the Oak Lawn Park District Board meetings. We went to 2 of them. We were told that they were going to put together a special committee, which would consist of some board members, myself, and some residents. That committee meetings, they were canceled, and given the bad winter, I let it go. So about 2 months ago, I called the Park District again and asked them, what was the status. And I received a call back from Mary Wallace and from Manny Kelly, both telling me that the Park District was going to be removing one of the basketball hoops. And so come to the next meeting, which would have been the April meeting, then I got a call saying, that meeting was not going to be talking about the basketball hoops and that it was going to be in May. So went to the meeting last night, and unfortunately, it was not on the agenda. When I approached the board members afterwards, I asked them about it, and they are sitting tight on it. They're going to monitor the situation. And the conversation that I had with one of the board members, it was like she wasn't in the room when all of the residents got up and spoke about this issue. I thought it was a perfect compromise, just taking down one of the hoops. So that those that don't have the hoops in their backyard could come over to the park. But that the bad language and everything else wasn't going to be happening with groups of people from outside of Oak Lawn coming in. So I just want to let the residents know this is the situation, my suggestion. I'm kind of at a loss as to what to do. I'm very, very disappointed in this board. They said it's not over yet, but we're already starting to get, their next board meeting is not until June 9th. So I would ask that the residents who live around the park, who have been vocal about this, to please contact the Park District and by email. Unfortunately, again, there is only one board member of your elected board members that have an email address, which is Mary Wallace. Her email is listed. Otherwise, I believe you'll probably have to just send an email to Maddie Kelly, who is the director, and giving her your feelings on this, or I would call, or probably attend the next board meeting, which is June 9th, because I think they're just going to sit on their hands on this, which is very unfortunate that they're elected and they are deciding not to listen to the majority of the residents in this area. That's it.
Thank you. How's District 6 doing, Trustee Carberry?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Trustee Desmond, I appreciate your comments and your announcements. And you made me, as far as the officers and the ex-military, with coming up with the officers further on the agenda, hopefully, the soldiers will be given consideration, or greater consideration, or even mandatory. I mean, we all we talk about it as far as supporting the troops when they come back, but what a better way to maybe make at least 3 of the 6 have to be ex-military, or all of them to be ex-military, our police officers. I don't know, something maybe you could talk about with Chief. I don't mean to. The only reason I brought that up tonight, Chief, is because just based on Trustee Desmond's comments. And I think we do something already, right, in the grading of it, don't we, Larry?
Yes, we do.
So maybe something we could look into. The other thing, did you know about this other than tonight, Trustee Streit's comments, or was this just out? Did you ever hear of this before, Chief?
Talking about the Christ issue?
Yeah.
As the village manager mentioned, he contacted me as soon as he got an email, and I checked into it. I learned that it was on the NBC website.
No, I know, but this has never been communicated to you as a problem, or?
No.
Trustee Streit, did you communicate this with anyone else before, Tuesday Night Live here?
Well, actually, first of all, when I heard it on the news, what I figured is that I would have received some communication from the village. If, for instance, if someone calls the police and says that there's a suspicious vehicle, we get an Everbridge alert. If the temperature drops, if the air temperature is different than the ground temperature, Larry sends us an email telling us that. So this was an issue that I would have expected that I would have received some communication from the village. Now, the fact that
So you're
the village
disappointed.
didn't know.
So you're disappointed.
Well,
the village let you down.
You know
and
what,
that
Trustee
you wanted
Carter?
you want to blindside
What
everybody.
I'm concerned about is that there needs to be some sort of a policy or ordinance to protect our residents. It's
I
a
get it. At
serious
first,
incident.
there was a
So-
moment there that I thought you were bringing it up as a constructive action, and
It
now
is
I
a constructive
realize.
action.
Now I realize what you're selling.
we're gonna
again,
limit the back
isn't-
and forth
Isn't
a
going to
little
work,
bit.
Bob. It's not working.
Maybe
The
you don't
people
want to
see
solve
it.
the issue. You
The
may not
people
want to
see
solve
it.
the
I see it.
problem.
It's not working. You're going to lose.
So you don't want to protect
Please
the
don't
public.
be addressing each other. Let the trustee
No,
talk
I
and
just,
give his
I've had
report.
enough of the other thing I'd like to comment on, my district's talking about, this is a show with the cameras. It's a show. And it's not a business meeting, and it's not being presented that way. It certainly doesn't look that way to the residents. And we're not doing the people's work. We're getting into a lot of theatrics with these meetings, and it needs to stop. And the blind side, that's a low. If you're going to blindside your old people, Bob, that's no good. That's no good. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move on then.
You're going to lose.
We're going to move on to item 8, Village Manager's
what?
Report. Please,
Thank you, Mayor and Board. I'll keep my comments brief, but they are important business. The first one has to do with our Oak Lawn water system. and that Oak Lawn water system project, I'd like to thank you, Mayor, and each of the trustees up here who voted unanimously last fall. You set the course for which has resulted in 66 elected officials in 9 communities, all voting unanimous. Not a single elected official voted no on a $171 million project, of which Oak Lawn's share of that project, even if the 3 southeast communities elect not to go forward, which I hope is not the case, they remain, that's our next, we're moving on to them. But even if they do not move forward, each and every one of those 66 elected officials voted to approve an agreement where Oak Lawn's share will be 9.989%, no more than 11.7% if those 3 communities, Madison, Country Club, Hills, and Olympia Fields, decide not to go forward. But I'm hopeful that they will see the same wisdom that Palos Hills did. They were the last of the 9 to vote last Thursday unanimously. I thank Mayor Bennett for his leadership, but most important, I thank each and every one of you up here. You saw the wisdom and the importance of this infrastructure project. I had communication with the Speaker of the House and with the Governor's office, and they salute you for the vote that you took. So thank you very much on that item. Quickly, let's go through these real quick. I just wanted to quickly list each of these elected officials, the mayors and the trustees, go through them just like that. Each of the communities, you'll see them. Starting from the south, you had New Lenox, Mokina, Tinley Park, Orland Park, Oak Forest, Palos Park, Palos Hills, Chicago Ridge, and again, led by Oak Lawn. That is a remarkable intergovernmental cooperation by all of you, so thank you for your leadership.
Larry, if I could interrupt real quick, I just want to applaud you and your leadership on this one, too. It's been many years of work and a lot of diplomacy, and I just want to...
Well, thank you. Thank you. And, thank you, Mayor and Board. Let me tell you where we are now. You have approved the first 2 contracts, and that's upgrading our pumping stations, Harker and Reich, which are in this community. That in itself constitutes an investment by these other communities that is 3 times what our share will be in the entire project. So we already have construction underway, upgrading in Carroll's district and upgrading in Alex's district, 2 fantastic pumping stations. When it's all said and done, the appearance in the neighborhood, those residential and then a quasi-commercial district, will exceed what those pumping stations have looked like before. Well, they will look better than prior to the construction, but more important, inside functionality, they will meet the needs of this community for the next 40 years. Mayor, the second item we've already addressed. Again, he's a modest man, dressed informally tonight, but Sal Malilly is the president and the CEO of Hooters, representing all the Hooters, the original investors in the greater Chicago area. He's an outstanding business executive, and I can tell you I've already got an email from him thanking the board, and I can tell you the board of directors of that corporation thank Oak Lawn. They're excited about the investment in this community. And the last item I have is, I consider it business, Trustee Carberry, and I couldn't agree with you more, but I wanted to share with all of you today an encounter I had with a resident. Actually, it was in your district, Bob. It could have been any district, because I think it just illustrates what a wonderful community this is. It was at the intersection of 97th and 50th Court. That intersection has 4 homes. Each of the homes on that corner do just a marvelous job of maintaining their property, and the homeowner of one home was out weeding her yard, and I pulled over and I just said, boy, I always admire your home. You do such a nice job." And she said, "Oh, thank you so much. And I want you to know that my neighbors and I are so excited about Mariano's. We're so excited about Cooper's Hawk. But even more important than that, I want you to know that we are excited about the caliber of young couples moving into our community, investing in buying homes in Oak Lawn, and the shirt tails or coat tails where they may have gone to Brother Rice, they may have gone to Marist, they may have gone to Oak Lawn or Richards, and they've returned to the community because of the values of the family, because of the churches, and I'm going to say that again, the churches, because about the time I finished that discussion with her, the chimes from the neighborhood church began, and I think that speaks well, whether it's the Bible church over here or whether it's our church in Bob's neighborhood over in that area. It reflects this community so well, and I wanted to share that with you. That's a typical Oak Lawn homeowner who does care and is listening to what's going on in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent report. Okay, we did item 14, item 15, item 16, and item 17 already. We're on to item 18. This is ordinance 141528. It's an ordinance amending Title VI, Chapter 16 of the Oak Lawn Village Code entitled Preservation of Historic Buildings, Districts, Landmarks, and Structures. May I have a motion, please, on this ordinance? Properly moved by, who said that? Trustee Quinlan? Okay, and second?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Desmond. Any discussion on this item? Thank you. Please take the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
So we have item 19 now. This is ordinance 141529, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2014 annual budget. This is for the addition of summer help program recommended by the Public Works Committee.
Motion to approve?
Properly moved by Trustee Oliniechek.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Carberry. Any discussion on this item? Please take the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
So ordinance number, 20 is ordinance number 141530. This is an ordinance of the Village of Oak Lawn, Cook County, Illinois, approving the proposed Cicero Gateway Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Plan. We have a motion on item 20, properly moved by Trustee Carberry, it sounded like.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Vorder. Any discussion here?
Yes, Mayor.
Oh, Trustee Streit.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I could, Matt, why don't you just come to the podium if I could, because I'm sure there'll be some questions, and you'd be more than happy to address those. Thank you, Matt.
Okay. At the last board meeting, this board was ready to expand the TIF district without complete and comprehensive information necessary for the trustees to cast an informed vote. It's clear that for whatever reason, that there are those in this administration that want this expansion on the fast track with little oversight or planning in the process. The biggest problem is that the property will be moved from the tax rolls that currently finance our operating expenses, which ultimately might be the reason for this administration's insatiable desire to lay off employees and privatize services. TIF districts can be good tools for economic development, which was intended, but they can also be politically abused and become tremendous burdens to the taxpayers.
Madam Mayor, is there a question here, or is there a speech, or what do we got going on here?
We're going to let him finish his
Bob,
his
come on.
question,
Thank you,
and
You're a little better than
You know
that, I
what?
thought. I really did.
let's not engage in back and forth.
That is where this one is now headed. In order to take a closer look at the finances of this TIF district, on April 30th, I submitted a Freedom of Information request for the last 3 annual reports, including all attachments for the 111th Cicero TIF. By law, that information was required to be provided by May 6th. I just received that information tonight. To date, the engineering work has been done by an engineering firm that the village has been using for many years. On tonight's agenda, we see the introduction of a new engineering firm that is politically connected, and an ordinance which once again provides no specifics for a $30,000 no-bid contract. I recently read the minutes from a School Board District 125's meeting regarding the TIF. Amazingly, a lawyer who works for the village and also represents another school district was advocating for the TIF expansion at their meeting. This is not only highly unusual, it poses serious ethical and possibly legal issues as well. The one thing for certain that is now clear about this project is that the vision has dramatically changed from the original intended purpose of a more upscale shopping center to another mediocre strip mall. And those changes are far more serious for Oak Lawn taxpayers. What once had great promise for economic development in our community has now decomposed into no-bid contracts and politics as usual, exactly the actions that are putting Oak Lawn on the wrong track and the trustee Carberry doesn't want you to know about. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Gee, where do you start with that?
Well, Mayor, if I could.
Hold on, Madam
Okay,
Mayor.
I'm going to turn it over to
Bob,
trustee Carberry.
There's one part you did ad lib in there, and I give you a little credit. You threw my name in there at the end. That was pretty good. I don't think you had that written prior. I really think it's sad.
Okay, we're
Again,
not going to have personal attacks, believe it or
no,
not.
Madam Mayor, what I'm talking about is address the issues that are important to Oak Lawn. He's addressing the issues. He's writing speeches that tear down Oak Lawn. That's the way you operate.
I don't think he's
People
writing them,
see-
frankly.
People see through it, Bob.
Okay, I'm going to let Larry talk. Larry?
Thank you, Mayor and Board, and again, I will do my best not to address any political discussion that just, or presentation was given. I'm going to deal with the facts. Back in 2006, when the then board envisioned, and I salute them for having a vision for this property. At that point, they had been newly elected, and they had a series of consultants, and reports were put together, and quite frankly, hastily put together, to quote Trustee Strite. And at that point, there were a lot of things that were not done. And again, I'm not here to Monday morning quarterback. The job is to get it done and get it right. This is not a mediocre development. It is an outstanding development with not only a regional player, but a national player in the restaurant industry that is feverishly working with one of the finest architects to get back to the board and get construction underway, just like we're seeing Mariano's move so swiftly in their construction. But in 2006, there was no effort, no due diligence to look at the soil conditions, to look at the infrastructure in place that crisscrossed this 29-acre parcel of land.
Excuse me, Larry?
Whether it be gas,
Larry?
whether it be sewer, yes,
You've explained this.
I have.
Let's move on. Let's make a motion.
I think it's important
Well-
that the residents know what's going on. We are making a vote on it.
I will-
It's changing
I will-
it.
Well, if there's a question, I think we should ask a
let's let
question.
I
Larry
will
finish what
truncate
he's
it
saying.
and take it to the what is before you, not in this item, but I am asking you to engage an engineering firm. Now, one thing the village has done, I think, extremely well through the prior board's leadership and this board's leadership is we have diversified the consultants that we use in this community. We do not use a single engineering firm. My goodness, we must use 5 engineering firms, and we use them based on their expertise, whether or not it's a bikeway, whether or not it is a wetland, whether or not it is water or sewer, whether or not it is hard street repaving. We use them based on their skill set. In 2006, there was not an environmental engineer brought on board, and there was not somebody with that area of expertise. The contract for a fee not to exceed $33,000, and in Illinois, like most states in the nation, you do not competitively bid professional services. This is against the law. You can seek proposals, which we have to get the various and different diverse engineers that we use, but before you tonight is a firm that one of the principals is the former president of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. They are the agency that handles stormwater, waste in the greater Chicago area. They are the experts. They are the ones that have permitting authority. They're the ones that determine whether development goes forward or not forward in the state of Illinois in the greater Chicago area. Those are the facts. So I have presented to you, and I've had a discussion with some of you who have called me regarding this, and I appreciate the calls, that Mr. Terry O'Brien, who I've recommended to you be engaged, is a gentleman, is an engineer by profession and by education, and is the former MWRD president and highly respected in his field. His skills will be needed as we navigate the final waters of this development, and no pun intended, when I say waters, this was a wetland. Many years ago, it was paved over in the 1970s, circa 1976, without regard to what we know in science, what we would do when it comes to the environment. Things were done to change the flow of water in Stony Creek, whether it flowed at that location to the west or to the east. Some pipes were capped, other pipes were not enlarged, other waterways were encapsulated in fixed structures. And what we're doing is try to satisfy regulatory agencies. We're trying to satisfy the Illinois Department of Transportation, which also has permitting authority at this location. And we're also trying to make very, very aggressive deadlines so that Mariano's can open and serve the fine residents of our community, as well as restaurants and other shops. So that's what this is all about. In terms of the TIF, quite frankly, what we're doing here is a very, very prudent, smart, intelligent change. That change was presented in public hearing before our Planning Commission. We've had public hearings with the other taxing authorities, who, by the way, voted unanimously. Every taxing authority listened to the presentation of Teska and Associates out of Evanston, experts when it comes to TIFs, and they voted unanimously to support what is before the board tonight. You've got documentation going back as early January from me about what we're doing tonight. Early January, you had a copy of the TESCA plan, which went through the public hearing process. All of that has been for you. It's all transparent. This is not just appearing May 13th. We have methodically covered all the steps. That's what we have done.
Thank you. Trustee Vorder.
Yeah, I would like to just add, rather than rely on FOIA, I educated myself on this TIF. I attended every single meeting, the P&D meeting, every school board meeting. I discussed this issue with presidents and superintendents of those school boards. I spent 2 hours with you, Mr. Welch, one-on-one, educating myself on this, rather than rely on FOIAs to try to educate myself. And I think we're moving forward in a very positive thing. A trustee here indicated that there was some type of political connection to hiring this engineering firm. I realize you throw a lot of mud on the wall. Maybe some of it'll stick. I'd like to know where your proof is that there's some kind of political connection to this board.
We're discussing the TIF right now.
I'm sorry, Mayor,
let's,
but
I understand.
Everything is conspiracy.
How much property taxes are going to be pulled out of the operating budget, Terry? If you attended every meeting and you know so much about it, tell me how much we're going to lose.
I'm going to let
Why don't you answer that
Matt
question?
Welsh, our TIF attorney, can you please address?
The village isn't going to lose any property taxes as to where it is today, okay? the village has spent $25 million on this project. It took out $25 million in loans, which, with the way the TIF is structured today, it's not going to be able, the increment generated from the existing TIF is not going to be able to repay the $25 million. The $25 million loan is GO-backed. So what that means, when the TIF does not generate enough money, the village has to pay whatever's left over out of its general operating fund. So it's going to take a bigger hit if this isn't done. By restructuring this loan, we put it in your memo, when this project is fully developed, it will generate close to, if not more than, $1 million in increment a year. It's just a math equation. There's really nothing other than that. It's going to help you repay this loan much faster. If you recall, you approved the IGA. The IGA puts a lot of limitations. The school districts recognized that the village was in a precarious position relative to this TIF and this loan. So there's protections the school district asked for, and one of those is when the plan's complete, we'll close down the TIF. We won't generate a surplus. There's, I don't know, maybe 15 protections that we offer to the school district because from my understanding, the village's main goal is to repay this Fifth Third note.
Good, thank you. So in a nutshell, the way it was structured before was flawed to the point where it would not pay for itself, and it would start to impact what the village, it would take money from other departments in the village, like the police department, the fire department, public works, those kind of things. We would have to come up with that money to service this TIF unless it was restructured this way. Is that correct?
The base EAV under the existing TIF was too high, such that it wouldn't allow enough increment to be generated to repay the loan.
Okay.
By doing this, we lower the base EAV, thereby generating more increment to repay the $25 million.
But it's also important, Mayor, that Matt referred to this as a general obligation bond. So to answer Bob's question, none of the property taxes are leaving the operating budget because we would have to pay that as a general obligation bond of the village. So everything's being captured. This is all, as Matt just said, about pure math, about setting the increment so the debt can be paid back from the funding that's inside the TIF. Pure and simple.
Okay.
Madam Mayor?
That's the presentation to every school board, every taxing district that signed on 100% to this change.
Yes.
Okay, they understood that they grasped that they understood this is in their best interest as well as our best interest.
Correct.
Trustee Olejniczak.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, this information was provided to all of us. We all had the ability to talk to anybody in staff and anybody in council. This isn't something new. This has been going on for 3-4 months. I would just suggest that trustees do their homework. I know it makes for good drama on the TV show, as people in my district do call it. But we need to be doing the work of the village and the people in the village, and getting away from the drama and what's going on here, and make sure that we don't try to use what we're doing here for other purposes other than to serve the residents of the village of Oak Lawn.
Well said, Alex, and I'm going to call the vote.
I just want to make one quick comment.
Oh, okay.
Just to this. I just want to remind this board that there are 7, counting the mayor, individuals, and we all have our own opinion, and we're not all going to agree on everything, and it is absolutely Trustee Strite's right to be able to give his reasons, and yes, it is on camera, but the resident should know why he's voting, how he's voting, or anyone else on this board. It is our right to say why we are disagreeing on something. And not just because you're disagreeing is not always because it's political.
No one disagrees with that.
We're going to call the vote.
be holistic.
We're going to call the vote.
You guys are all coming down.
This is
on
item
someone
20.
Disagrees.
Yeah, I
It's
did
not
do his
right.
homework.
Please,
Yeah,
let's
Bob,
call the
I did
vote.
His job.
Trustee Olejniczak,
Yes.
You don't know.
Trustee
anything.
Desmond,
Yes.
Trustee Carberry,
Yes.
Trustee Border.
Yes.
Trustee Strite,
No.
Trustee Quinlan.
Figure out
Yes.
who's in your neighborhood.
Motion passes 5-1.
21 on the agenda is ordinance 141531. This is an ordinance of the Village of Oak Lawn, Cook County, Illinois, designating the proposed Cicero Gateway TIF redevelopment project area a redevelopment project area pursuant to the Tax Increment Allocation Redevelopment Act. May I have a motion on item 21, please?
Motion to approve.
Properly moved by trustee Vorderer,
Second.
seconded by trustee Carberry. Any discussion here? Please take the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
No.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1.
So, item 22 now is ordinance 141532, an ordinance of the Village of Oak Lawn, Cook County, Illinois, adopting tax increment allocation financing for the Cicero Gateway redevelopment project area tax increment financing district. May I have a motion on item 22, please?
Motion to approve.
Properly moved by trustee Vorderer
Second.
and seconded by trustee Carberry. Do we have discussion on item 22? Please take the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
No.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1.
Thank you, and thank you very much, Matt. I especially appreciate the detailed memo you gave us, which outlined anyone who would call it little oversight or planning, your memo just knocks it out of the park. So, great job. Thank you. Okay.
Want me to stay up for the fifth, third issue?
We could.
68%.
Okay. Item 23 is Resolution 141529, a resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement pertaining to the security for certain loans from the Fifth Third Bank. May I have a motion on item 23, please?
Motion to approve.
Properly moved by trustee Vorderer
Second.
and seconded by trustee Carberry. Any discussion? Please take the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
No.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1.
24, Resolution 141530. This is a resolution of the Village of Oak Lawn, Cook County, Illinois, authorizing the execution of an engineering and development consulting agreement with K-Plus Engineering, LLC. May I have a motion on item 24, please?
Motion to approve.
Properly moved by trustee Desmond,
I'll second. Go ahead.
seconded by trustee Carberry. Okay. Any discussion on this item? Please take the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
No.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1.
Okay, 25 on the agenda is Resolution 141531, a resolution approving a professional engineering services agreement pertaining to the Reich Harker and Points of Delivery construction project between the Village of Oak Lawn and CDM Smith Incorporated. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Properly moved by trustee Oliniechek,
Second.
seconded by trustee Desmond. Any discussion here? Please take the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
26 on our agenda this evening is Resolution 141532, a resolution authorizing the execution of a law enforcement mutual aid agreement and the existence and formation of the Illinois Law Enforcement Alarm System by intergovernmental cooperation. May I have a motion, please, on this item?
Motion to approve.
Properly moved by
Second.
trustee Vorder and seconded by trustee Carberry. Do we have discussion on this item? Please take the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
So we're at
Passes.
27 on the agenda, Resolution 141533, a resolution approving Davis Concrete Construction's bid pursuant to the 2014 concrete repair and the 50/50 sidewalk program. May I have a motion, please, on item 27?
Motion to approve.
Properly moved by trustee Carberry,
Second.
seconded by trustee Vorder. Any discussion here? Great, let's take the vote then, thank you.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
28 on the agenda is a request to approve the hiring of 6 police officers with direction to the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners. This is budgeted positions that have become vacant through retirements and/or resignations. May I have a motion on this item, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Properly moved by trustee Vorder and seconded by trustee Oliniechek. Is there discussion here? Please,
I just want
Trustee
a point of
Vorder?
clarification for the chief. Chief, we're approving 6 people in anticipation of future retirements. That's so you'll have the authorization to put them in schools and get them ready to go on the day of the retirements?
For those positions are
Thank you.
anticipated.
Thank you. I just want a clarification on that.
And the only thing I'd like to add,
trustee Carberry.
Madam Mayor, is, you know, what we talked about earlier. I don't know if there's an existing list that you're working off of.
They
There
get
is already.
military, trustee Carberry, they get military points in the system. So they do get some
I knew there was
preference.
some sort of grading
Yeah.
leverage,
They
but not
get
a,
credit for their experience as well as points for their service.
how does that generally work out for them? Do we generally get, have we been pretty successful in?
Yes, we have several former military that are in the high.
7 at a time.
They work out very well.
Good.
Thank you. Okay, let's call the vote on that, please.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Beautiful. Okay, here we are, 29, village clerk's report. Jane, you have
be
the
quick.
floor.
Disbursement Resolution Number 2014-09D. Approval of semi-monthly disbursements dated May 13th, 2014, in the amount of $5,393,095.39.
May I have a motion, please, on item 29A?
Motion approved.
Properly moved by trustee Carberry,
Second.
seconded by trustee Vorder. Any discussion here? Well, let's call the vote then. Thank you.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
And Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes. One more thing, Mayor. This is in regards to the village's Dare and Edge programs that are taught to grammar school students in the village. Every school year, our police department works very hard in teaching and mentoring students on the effects of drugs, alcohol, and gang violence. I would like to thank our police department, especially Chief Murray and Sergeant Passetti, for all of their support for this program. The small amount of time that our officers spend in the classroom is a fraction of the amount of time it takes to prepare for class time. Kudos to our police department. That's it. Thank you. Thanks, Mike, for everything.
Thank you.
And we'll be at a couple of graduations tomorrow, won't we, Jane?
Yes, 8:30 and 9.
Very good. Okay, back to 30. Okay, this is the village president's report. We're going to start with 30A. This is a request to approve a Class C liquor license. This is special event for the Oaklawn Chamber of Commerce Spring into Summer event
Motion
to be
approved.
held on Saturday, June 21st, 2014. We have a motion to approve by trustee Oliniechek,
Second.
seconded by trustee Carberry. Any discussion here? Let's call the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion
Madam
passes.
Mayor, can we do them together, or?
I think I have to do these separate.
You can take them together, but you just
Okay.
do B, and then we have 2 more that you can take together.
Okay, so we'll do 30B, ordinance 141533, an ordinance issuing a Class C liquor license for the Oaklawn Chamber of Commerce Spring into Summer event.
Motion approved.
Properly moved by trustee Oliniechek, seconded by trustee Carberry. Any discussion? And take the vote, please.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. And let's go on then to item 30C and 30D like David, okay? Item 30C is a request to approve a Class C liquor license. This is special event for the Village of Oaklawn Fall on the Green Festival to be held on September 5th, 6th, and 7th, 2014. And item D is ordinance granting an increase in the number of Class C liquor licenses that can be held issued in the village for that event.
Motion approved.
Properly moved by trustee Carberry,
Second.
seconded by trustee Quinlan. Any discussion here? Let's take the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Item G, okay, and boy, it is G after this meeting. This is General Village Matters. I want to let all residents know that the 10th annual charity hockey game between our very own Oaklawn Police and Oaklawn Fire Departments happening Sunday, May 18th, 2014 at our Park District Ice Arena. Game time's 5 o'clock, doors open at 4:30. This is a great family event. Tickets for adults are $5. For students, they're $2. You could bring the whole family, not spend a lot of money. I guarantee you will have a great time. Usually there's a ringer or two on there. We have Chief Sheets here and Chief Murray. Anything you gentlemen want to say about the game?
The fire department's just very happy to win for several years, and we're going to take it again this year, so thank you.
Chief Murray,
Ringers.
anything you want to say? Okay, Chief Murray is just smiling because he knows he's got victory this year. What's important to know with this event, the wonderful teams are donating all proceeds to charity. This will be the Illinois chapter of Concerns of Police Survivor, or COPS. This is an organization dedicated to helping survivors of law enforcement officers who have died in the line of duty, and it'll also support the police department hockey charities and the fire department hockey charities. Great time for all. Please be there. I will be there. And I'm just going to ask this board at the next meeting to consider the summer schedule again if we want to do that. And I was at the Chamber of Commerce luncheon today. They have record amounts of members. I learned that in the entire southwest suburban area, the Oaklawn Chamber of Commerce is number 2. Second in the number of members, and it's a very active chamber. I applaud them all. And then I want to thank Concord Nursing Home. I didn't know this week is Nursing Home Week. They invited me to come and tour their facility at 94th in Ridgeland. They have remodeled the entire inside. The outside will be getting a new facade in the fall. They are very, 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 very motivated to make it a wonderful experience for residents, clients, and their family. I want to thank them for the invitation. And with that, I need a motion to go to item 31. This is Executive Session 2014-04 for the purpose of, 1, reviewing for the release of minutes of closed meeting minutes from April 10th, 2008, June 14th, 2010, and all closed meeting minutes for 2011, 2012, and 2013. We have a motion from Trustee Oliniechek. Is there a second? Seconded by Trustee Quinlan. Any discussion before we call the vote? Let's call the vote.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. So when we go into executive session, we do need the room cleared. Thank you for coming. We'll come back to adjourn to open session, but are you a student? You need something signed? You've got